So hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today, as promised, I am going to be talking about coming to the UAE as a tourist. Remember, this is your newest series, Coming to the UAE. So by the end of today's episode, you'll all have an idea of when the best time to come to the UAE is, and you will also know the good places to visit when you're around here, and also the do's and don'ts, which is also very important when you're planning a trip, because you also need to know what is expected of you when you visit a different or foreign country. So stay tuned. I'm your host, Doc Love Esther. So of course, it's mandatory to check that you have the required documents for travel before you plan any trip. So the number one document that is very important is your passport when traveling to a foreign country. This applies to everybody. And so you need to check if you have a valid passport, which is very important. Not just a passport, but a valid passport. Because in some countries, and if you check on the web, require that you have a passport that is valid for even 6 months. 6 months beyond your expected time of visit. So you need to be very careful, check those dates, and make sure that you don't get surprises at the airport. The other common thing that you need to check for is that you have a valid visa, or if you even require one. If you do not require a visa, then good for you. But if you require a visa, then it is important for you to apply for your visa ahead of time to avoid disappointments, because a visa issuance could take up to 1 week, could take up to 2 weeks, depending on destination. So you need to plan ahead and know that if you require a visa, you need to apply for that ahead of time. The other document that has become mandatory is, of course, the COVID certificate. So make sure you do all these pre-checks before you plan your trip and know when you need to do what, especially the COVID test. Of course, you know you have to do that a few days before travel to make sure that it is valid on the day of travel. So once you have all that sorted, then yay, I think you're ready for my guidance when you visit the UAE. So once you're in the country, of course, the other next thing is to check out the places. I know everyone's like excited. I want to check out this, I want to check out that. But before that, it is very important for you to know what is required for you as a tourist in this country that you have visited. Number one, you need to check out the do's and don'ts, because this information will be quite useful as you cruise around the Emirates. So it is mandatory to check out the do's and don'ts. But I'm here to guide you through, so you have nothing to worry about. So let's do this together. The country overflows with a list of activities, whether you're seeking adventure, history, art admirer, or just a nature lover. The list is endless. So there is everything for everyone. Number one, dress modest. This is actually common sense, because if you're in a mall, which is a public area, public place for families and children, for everybody, you're required to dress in a proper way, respectful manner, putting or keeping in mind that this is an Islamic country. So you need to be respectful of the people's culture. You're not expected to overdress, but at least be decent, You're not expected to wear a suit at the beach. It's allowed to wear your swimwears at the beach, but you also have to be respectful of people's culture. I have been here for 10 years and I have never been in trouble. So while we're still at dress code, I will end by saying that it is advisable to pack according to the month that you're visiting the UAE. It is usually very warm throughout the year, but it gets chilly during the months of December, January, and February. So it's advisable to carry at least a light jacket or light sweaters just in case you need it. Respect the local culture when visiting the UAE. The UAE local culture is influenced by the religion of Islam, which is known as the religion of respect and peace. Refrain from using hand gestures that might mean something different or that might be offensive. When I first moved here, there's some hand gestures that I used at home that I had to stop using, because in this country, they probably mean something different. And so it is important to put that in mind and refrain from using them, especially in public, because then that might mean something else to someone else and you might be in trouble. Respect women, and also remember this: avoid shaking hands with people of the opposite sex unless they offer to do so themselves. Do not drink alcohol in public places. I know some of you will find this a surprise because where you come from, it's okay to drink anywhere. It's okay to pull out a bottle of beer and drink it anywhere. But in this country, it is not allowed to drink alcohol in public places. Like, you cannot just walk into a mall with your can of beer or bottle of beer and start sipping it in front of people. No, that is not allowed. So keep that in mind. I actually had an encounter with somebody who was drinking in public, and I felt obliged because I know the culture here. I know what is allowed and what is not allowed. So I felt obliged, and I approached him and told him he is not doing the right thing. It's not allowed, and he would be in trouble if anyone saw him. Another very important thing you need to remember is that medicine or prescriptions differ from country to country. There's some medication that is not allowed in some countries. So an important thing that you need to do is keep your prescriptions from the doctors with you when traveling, especially to this country. Just keep them with you, for you to show in case you need to, because some drugs might not be allowed and you might be in trouble for that. So to avoid that, again, keep your prescriptions with you so that if need be, you just pull them out and show them to whoever is asking for them, i.e. the authorities. One thing I have actually adapted to and have learned the hard way, by the way, is checking for timings online. In this country, the weekends do not match weekends in other parts of the world. Hence, the weekends here are Fridays and Saturdays, which means that Sunday is an official working day. So if you have no idea about how this works here, you'll of course be expecting that Sunday is a family day and you plan to take your children somewhere. So it's important to check for timings online before you actually go somewhere. And if need be, call to reserve because you might get there and the place is fully booked. Last but not least, maintain your calm. You have visited the country. You expect the best from this country. You need to maintain your calm. Shouting, being aggressive, fighting, or even arguing in public is not appreciated. It could lead to fines. So to avoid all that, you need to be as respectful as possible. Maintain your calm. Now, my dear friends, it's not only about the rules, it's just being on the right side of the track. If you want to have fun, if you want to enjoy, if you want to have memorable moments, then of course, you might also want to look at the other page, which is obey and go according to the rules and regulations of the country. And they will give you back what you're looking for, which is fun. So, just to clarify, public display of affection is not allowed in the UAE. That doesn't mean you cannot hug your friends. It doesn't mean that you cannot hold hands. But anything beyond which involves kissing and many other activities is not allowed. So just to clear this, and this is also quite common sense because I don't think you would also visit a place in your country and start making out in public. For example, you cannot just walk onto the street and hold each other and start making out. It doesn't look right, so it's all about morals. It's not just that the country doesn't allow. It's not that those rules are here. It is morals. It's up to you. Do you think it's right? Number 2, drinking in public. Now, alcohol is available in licensed bars and restaurants in the UAE, but drinking in public is prohibited. So if you're planning to have one too many, it is advisable to have your drinks at the bar, get into a cab and go home peacefully without creating any problems. That way, you're on the right side of the law and you will have no trouble coming your way. Number 3, do not take photographs without permission. I mean, it's rude to take other people's pictures without their permission. It is okay to ask, can I have a photo with you? If the person says no, respect their decisions and take a selfie of yourself. I'm sure that will also count. Avoid taking pictures of airports, police stations, ports, royal places, and military buildings. Don't drink and drive. Other than the fact that it is not good for you, it is risky for you, it is also prohibited to drink and drive in this country. So if you're caught driving while drunk or under the influence, then you're bound to get in trouble. Important thing to remember, do not make hand gestures, do not point at people, do not drink, smoke, or eat in public during the holy month of Ramadan, and avoid using swear words. That way we are ready now to explore the places. Now on to the places that you might or you would want to visit, or the tourist attractions in the UAE. Number one tourist attraction in the UAE is the Burj Khalifa, which is located in Dubai. A trip down there is worth it because you will get an experience of a lifetime. Remember, this is also the world's tallest building. There are plenty of things to see while you are down at the Burj Khalifa, which includes the dancing fountain at the Dubai Mall, and also a variety of restaurants which of course give you a dining moment to remember. Number two is the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi, which is also the biggest mosque in the UAE. Now, unlike other tourist attraction places in the UAE, this one is completely free. The entrance is free of charge, which means you have no reason not to visit if you're around the UAE. This mosque brings Islam's foremost message, which is peace and tolerance, and welcomes all kinds of people, all kinds of beliefs. Number three, the Hajar Mountains. Nature lovers, this is for you, as you'll find plenty of hiking, trekking, and bird watching opportunities, which is of course what nature lovers do. Look at the birds. We have the Louvre, Abu Dhabi. I hope I am actually pronouncing that correct. This is the newest, most spectacular museums in Abu Dhabi. Whether you're into early history, old age, or modern art, you will find all these with the exhibits that are sourced from all over the globe. Fascinating, if you ask me. I have been there, I took the kids there, and it is actually a place to remember. Number five, Jebel Jais. Now this is the highest peak in the UAE, located in Ras Al Khaimah. This is also the place where the longest zip line in the world is located. I told you guys about this in my previous video. This zip line lies on the side of Jebel Jais for 2 kilometers. Imagine 2 kilometers up there at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. That is long and very fast. I have done that, and I must tell you that it's not for the faint-hearted. If you're one of those people who loves thrilling activities, then that is definitely for you. For me, I think once was enough, but it's a beautiful scenery from up there, even though half the way my eyes were closed. Number six, the Sharjah Arts Museum. This is home to the most diverse art collection in the UAE and actually holds some exhibitions throughout the year. So if you're in here at the right time of the year or the right time of the month when they have the exhibitions, you might be lucky just to catch that happening. Number seven, Jebel Hafid. Now this is the relaxing day trip. If you're that kind of person who loves day trips, relaxing, long drive, and you get to experience all the sceneries because the roads are carved all the way to the top, and it's located in Al Ain. So yes, this is the perfect day trip. Number eight, Bastakir. This is the fragrant remaining of the old Dubai. This small heritage area showcases the simple and gentle past of the city before the skyscrapers came into being. So this is a place, I actually talk about it with passion because I love how it looks. I love the small parts in between that show you how the city was before everything became so modern. Number nine, the desert. Now what is a visit to the UAE if you're not going to do the desert safari? And there are the activities like camel treks and hiking. The desert has so many activities for people who love adventure. But I must say, you need to be ready because, yeah, it's a thriller. Wear your pants and sneakers and get ready for adventure. Number 10, the Dubai Creek Dhow Ride. Now, the sunset cruises are awesome and they come with entertainment and dinner. But you can also hop onto one of the Eco ferries which ply the water between Bad Dubai and Deira. These ones are cheaper and they will take you right into the heart of Dubai. Number 12, souks, which means markets. Souks are places where you can get a good deal on local handcrafts and products, and it's also a place where you can bargain. So it's not fixed price, which means you can play around with prices just to get a fair deal out of it. All Emirates have their souk districts to explore, but I will be specifying on one of them, which is the Deira souk, which is found in Dubai. This is where the famous gold souk is located, and also has a fish souk, market for the fish. Imagine that. If you have checked yourself into an apartment which you can actually make food, You could just go to the souk, get some fresh fish, and enjoy your meal. So I'll mention about transport and getting about the cities or the Emirates in the UAE. There is public transport, there are taxis, there are buses, there is a metro in Dubai. So it is quite easy to get around the cities. The cheapest means, of course, being the buses and the metro, but there are also car rental. So if you decide to take a car from the rental services, it is also very important to remember that there are parking regulations in the cities and they differ. So you need to look into that to avoid getting fines. We have been fined before for parking at a place that is only for residentials. So you need to read all the signs that are put up to just avoid getting in trouble. Now, having said all that, I doubt there's something I've forgotten. And if there's something I've forgotten and you'd like for me to talk about, kindly put it down in the comment section and I will be more than happy to discuss it or talk about it in my next video. So guys, that marks the end of today's episode. I've enjoyed just taking you through the whole thing. Now, next time I will be talking about coming to the UAE as a job seeker or coming to the UAE to look for work and what you need to know, what you need to do, and the best timings of the year, of course, to come and look for a job. Until next time, guys, adios. Thank you for watching.